that's how I
gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense. So essentially, your inner self is the one that's going to have the desire for either more flow, more alignment, whatever the wish is. The inner self is going to have the wish, and the body needs to be in alignment with that through it feeling fun, it feeling possible in that way, if I could throw that in there possibly.
And well, another way to look at it is you need all three selves to be in line with your wish, right? When you're making a wish, in fact, that's one of the key principles is to make sure all three selves are in alignment. So your body has to be in alignment, which is, I want to make it fun. I don't want it to be too much stress on me. I don't, I don't want to take away the pleasures that I have in life. When you're talking about gratitude, sometimes we wish for something and then all of a sudden we realize we lose the things that we now appreciate because we're picking this new job that will work so hard and then our body might be tired. So it's important that our body is in alignment. Our conscious self is generally the one making the wish, but then it's the higher self, like, is this part of my purpose? Is this doing good for others? Does this have a bigger purpose? Getting that Ferrari, who is that going to help? Right. Other than the Ferrari dealership, maybe not. Right.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was going to ask for clarity of how you would qualify alignment with the higher self. That makes sense. Purpose driven, service to others, as well as not just service to ego, in other words.
Right.
Does that sound right? Yeah.
Right. Okay. And that's where one of the principles in the wish, when you're talking about how to make a wish, one is the anthropology of choosing a ritual, knowing what your ritual is, having something that's going to remind yourself, because that's part of our DNA, like the rituals. The things that we've done, and it's so much fun to do the research of like all the cultures around the world have different wishing rituals. So it's very, very cool to look at that.
That is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, this is something we all have in common that we aren't even realizing that's like so in alignment. And when you're talking about release, I forgot to mention this, is the one thing I love about the wishing is like the word wish is a release, like wish, like it itself invites the letting go. You set up, you have the vision, and then you release. Wish, like more than goal is like this, hard word.
Yeah.
And even prayer is kind of like this hard word, but wish is a beautiful meditative word. Isn't it a beautiful word? Like while you're meditating, like wish.
Yeah. Well, it's such an interesting take on these ideas, because the word wish, I don't have that much of a relationship with personally, and when you're saying this, I'm thinking of one of the main avenues of that is like a birthday wish. And so the idea of like exhaling into the candles, your wish, that sort of.
And the elements, there's a lot of anthropological history about using the four elements within a wish, whether it's, obviously, air and breathing out, or earth and burying something that you wish that will, manifest, all the different things. So burning, the candles on the cake. There's a lot of elemental stuff back in the history that's pretty interesting related to the wishing.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah.
But it does tie in. So I also talk about, so the anthropology is the ritual, something to remember, something that's, and again, I think this is some of the questionable research, but there is some research on like, that's probably in our DNA. Like it is who we are as physical beings. Like that's the inner self that we inherited when we went to this earth, is this DNA history of wishing and rituals and all of this. And then the other is I talk about what I call the 3 Ps, and that, and this is totally something that a vernacular that I came up with that's backed up by really fun science, which is